That is right. Yes, that is right. That is right. This is at least paradigmatic for special section of reality. I would say I wouldn't claim that textility is everything. No, not at all. But textility is a very good example that you can use if we think about dimensionality. If you think about dimensionality, or if you think about matter and form. For both ontologies, textility is a very good way to hybridize or to introduce hybridity. Speaking in terms of dimensionality. Again, back to Platonism or Euclidism. Platonism in the world of geometrics is connected with the name of Euclid, the old Greek geometer, to which we owe also the idea of three dimensions: point, line, and surface and volume. And so for very, very long time we thought that there is no way from, or no in between these dimensions. But if you leave, if you leave the geometrical approach, and if you think about real surfaces, and real lines, you hit upon materials, textile materials. So instead of a line, we can speak of a thread, and instead of a surface, we can speak of carpets, for instance, or veils, or what is this? Towels. Yes. And if you look I don't know if the camera can see this object here, but this is a tablecloth, and the tablecloth is very plain, but you can see that within the potentiality of every tablecloth there is the possibility of having folds, and so there is already within the surface the potentiality of three-dimensionality. So therefore we speak, when we speak about textiles, we have surfaces, but we better speak of deep surfaces. So in surfaces there is the potentiality of volumes, and in volumes there is the potentiality of surfaces. A thread is something different than a line, or to put it the other way around, a geometrical line is a stretched thread, you know. And if you think, or if you look, for instance, into the writings of the Renaissance theorist of art, Alberti, and if you look in his treatise on painting, you will find that Alberti was very much concerned with setting up a mathematical theory of painting, because he wanted painting to become a science. Painting was at his time still regarded as a craft, and therefore it did belong to the mechanical arts, and Alberti wanted it to belong to the liberal arts. So he tried to theorize about painting as being a mathematical science. So he tried to start from Euclid with point, line, surface, and so on, but he couldn't explain what he meant without all the time going back to concepts of textile crafts. So when he tried to explain what a surface is, he tried to explain it in mathematical terms, but then he said, a surface is like a veil. It consists of many, many, many lines, and like a veil. And when he tried to explain what a line is in Euclidean terms, he could not help but use the metaphor of a thread. So if you look closer to these things, you discover that we always, or to put it in a different way, that we have been all the time mistaken in believing what philosophers and theorists were telling us about the ontology of things. And if we look closer, even if we just study their language, study the metaphors they use, study the models that they use, study even the artworks that they were talking about, we discover that they were wrong, that they were telling us not the truth, that there is a huge field of knowledge that media studies, as I see them, has to rediscover. And in this knowledge, there's the knowledge of practices, the knowledge of operations, the knowledge of how things are fabricated. Within this knowledge, the world looks completely different than in the eyes of those ontologists, philosophical ontologists, we could call them, who want to make us believe that the categories of being are so neatly separated from each other. If we take another point of view, another perspective, the perspective of how things become, to use a Deleuzian term, so if we look more to the becoming of things, we get involved into operations as they took place in the materials of textiles and so on. And here we see that the dimensions and that matter and form have always been connected to each other and not separated.